In 1946 in Germany, which is an example of a society that actually in some significant ways did confront its past, its horrible past of the Holocaust, this philosopher, who's also happened to be a psychoanalyst, Karl Jaspers, gave a series of speeches at Heidelberg University on the question of German guilt and how to overcome that and what Germany had to do to come to terms with this monstrous interim in their historical life. And for me, this is an incredibly powerful document because it suggests that, in fact, there is some human understanding that when wrong is done, you do have to go through some curative, purifying process, or what, I don't know. But it's unimaginable that a Karl Jaspers could appear in China. And so there can be no discussion, there can be no roadmap, there can be no kind of coming to terms with the past. So the question that is really ever on my mind is, can a society actually continue to develop and be healthy as it moves forward, as China urgently wants to be, if it has this sort of disembodied, disinterred, corpse in its background? How does it have effect, or can you just say, doesn't matter? Don't worry about the past. Don't scratch off scabs. Don't get people fighting with each other again. Just move on and forget about it. So which of those two alternatives is the most possible?
Go ahead.
Well, I think behind this question, since you're talking about German guilt, and we're discussing the Chinese guilt here, and so as the Chinese, I think I wanted to offer my perspective, whether the question is, the Chinese lacks a certain cultural genes in facing up to its inner demons.
And it's interesting that Karl Jaspers was also a psychoanalyst.
A psychoanalyst.
And a philosopher.
Yes.
So he had that gene.
He had that gene. And psychoanalyst to this day is a difficult field to push in China because it carries such an enigma. Yeah. People feel to admit you have a psychological problem is equivalent to saying you're deranged, you're mad. So the common attitude for every Chinese about inner demons is to leave it alone. To just leave it alone and 向前看. So I think there is something about this popular attitude of not dealing with your demons, the bad deed. Mm-hmm. However, I would say, if we use the German example, let's imagine a scenario where Germany was not defeated. The Nazi Party stayed in power, and you have the portrait of Hitler still hanging to this day in the center of the Berlin Square. And the Jews who were persecuted or suffered lived among this, this population who were implicated in the guilt, in the crime, under the same party. Albeit, maybe this party had changed several leaderships and are having a reform and open policies. Would the Germans have a national, their different genes, would they actually be able to carry on this national process of facing up to their past crimes?
And equally as important,
it's conditioned on being defeated? That's the precondition to...
I would say in these cases, in the case of both Japan, which is also Asian culture, okay, and Germany, we should not forget, above and more important than the cultural tradition, there is a regime there, there's a power who's the perpetrator of the crime. If that power, if that regime stays in power, I don't care what culture, what tradition you're coming out of, whether in Germany or in Japan, that process of a national process, I'm not talking about occasional, in semi-private, limited, or maybe academic circles, you can have a discussion about what happened. A national process, I don't think that's possible. So, and by the way, there is a notion of retribution in Chinese culture, whether in Buddhist or in a lot of popular. Every Chinese knows this popular saying. It goes something like 善有善报，恶有恶报，不是不报，时候未到，时候一到，一切全报。This translates something like good deeds are rewarded, bad deeds are punished. If it hasn't happened, it's because the time has not arrived. When the time is arrived, all will be, everybody, you will get everything you deserve. So there is a sense of, the bad deeds will be punished. It may be a matter of time.